Well, bowling fans are back. Classic Lanes in Greenfield is the site. Another trios event today, Joey, but a little bit different. Last time, 3 ladies on a team. This time, still a lady on each team, but they're bowling in the anchor spot, and a little extra pressure on those ladies to hold up the rest of their team if it gets to be in the 10th frame.
Well, yeah, and you failed to mention there's some Hall of Famers in this matchup, so, I mean, it's going to be challenging for everybody.
Yeah, but they took this condition, Kegel's Middle Road, solved it pretty easily. You're going to see a lot of strikes on the TV show, I think, today. We saw a lot of strikes when we had the ladies' trios on. These Hall of Famers we got for the guys and ladies, lots of strikes. I don't think it's going to be any games under 200 on TV today.
Well, I would agree with that. I mean, you got quality players, you got a playable lane condition, and it's a great scoring house.
Absolutely. So 3 matches today coming to you from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. Join Joyce or I back in just a moment for that opening match of the 2+1 Trios Classic.
Looking to have a fun birthday party? Planning a charity fundraiser? Or in charge of a group outing? Classic Lanes Greenfield is the perfect place to host your event. Contact them at 414-282-6400. Bowl U's only instructional camp in the Midwest for 2014 is coming to Sunset Bowl in Waukesha from August 22nd through 24th. For more information on the camp, go to facebook.com/BowlUWaukesha. The opening match from Classic Lanes in Greenfield for the 2014 2+1 Trios Classic. Always a fun tournament, always pretty much high scores whenever we have it with this Baker format. And Joey, we've got Laura Mattia leading us off here on lane number 9.
Yeah, Laura, 40 years of age, lives in West Allis, home center, Riviera Lanes.
A lot of bowlers do their bowling by Danny Doherty and family over there. Nice out of her hand and scrambles it up well.
Yeah, Laura has worked on her game solidly over the last few years and throwing the ball very, very well.
Yeah, we saw her with our leading qualifier, Gina Dereshevsky, bowl on the ladies trios tournament, finishing in 3rd place on our last show. And now for the 2nd year in a row, making the TV finals, Janine Meifert and her team. We're not with Cassie. Long story on that one we won't go into today.
So give us an idea what the players are on lane condition-wise, Phil.
Well, it's Kegel's Middle Road, so it's the same lane pattern you saw the ladies trios bowl on. You're going to see a lot of players, even though it's a 41-foot pattern, they're going to play relatively deep like Janine is right there. And it seemed to me the bowlers that could play the lanes a little more direct had a little bit more of an advantage out here today, and you're going to see a lot of straighter players on the telecast.
So the more you curve it on this pattern, sometimes the more trouble you can get in?
Absolutely. So, and speaking of elders here, the first elder on this team, Joe Natoli.
The Italian Stallion throws it the same today as he did 20 years ago, or 30 years ago.
Absolutely. Joe with a nice shot to start there. Joe up at Summers Subaru up in Mequon. If you're looking for a new vehicle, you can always give Joe a visit up there. We'll give Joe a free plug since he's on the show today. Scott Weiland, 2nd TV telecast of the season for Scott. Bowled with Nikki Teddy on our mixed doubles show back earlier this season, and a nice shot by Scott there to get his team a double.
And we see Scott playing an extreme inside line compared to teammate Janine. A good 10 boards left of where Janine was playing.
Yeah, Scott pretty much more hand than anybody else on the telecast right now.
Now our first look at the Greek god, Gus Yannaris.
Gus and Gina Dereshevsky finished in 2nd place in our mixed doubles tournament at Sunset Bowl, just losing out to our winners that day, Vince and Joey Biondo out of Illinois. The same classic style for Gus year after year, and the same classic strike he seems to throw.
Yeah, and ball finished right behind the 8-pin. No problem there with Gus creating the right angle of entry.
And pretty much if you had to say there's a Wisconsin Bowler of the Year so far for 2014, this is the guy you gotta say it is. Dave Bear is out of Waukesha. His team just recently knocked out of 1st place at the USBC Open Championships by a record-setting score. He won.
Their record-setting score was upset by a record-setting score.
Absolutely. Well, Dave won the 2014 State All-Events title at AMF Bolero and Village Bowl in Menominee Falls. And
maybe I should clarify what I just said. Is Dave's team, Motion Plus Lane, shot a 111-year record team score of 35.66 with less than 2 weeks left in the tournament, based in Reno this year. The team shoots 37.20 and crushes the team event and beats Gus's team by, I'm sorry,
Beats Dave's team.
Dave's team by 160 pins.
Yeah.
And no one came close to beating Dave's team score for months.
Absolutely, and it just shows you 5 bowlers can get it together at the national tournament. No bowling score is safe out there.
We're using a Roto Grip Wrecker. You can see good length, nice little pop on the back end. Carries another wall shot.
Yep. Wrecks that rack quite well. Gets her team with the front 4 and a big 22-pin lead early. See what Janine can do here to match and keep her team within 22 pins if she can strike on this shot. Gets herself up. You see a lot of these bowlers nice and open in the stance, that right shoulder back, so it helps the ball get into their swing, clear their hip, posts through nicely, and just gets that 10 out for the first commercial break of the day we're going to get into right now. Join Joe Sutter and I back from Classic Lanes in Greenfield for the rest of this 2+1 Trios Classic opening match in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. Four frames in the books here from Classic Lanes in Greenfield for our opening match of the 2014 2+1 Trios Classic. And Joey, lots of strikes being thrown out there. We knew it was going to be high scoring today with the caliber of bowlers on the lane, and we got 7 out of 8 so far with Joe Natoli stepping up.
And Joe's bio sheet wants to give a shout out to his favorite bowler of all time, the late great Dick Weber. Outside interests outside of bowling, golf, and cooking. And I'm sure eating along the way.
Absolutely, and he's cooked up a string of 5 for his team, Respect Your Elders, getting them out to a 32-pin lead over We're Not With Cassie in this opening match. Winning team of this match advances to the semifinals against Team Grisham, captained by our Wisconsin Women's Open champion for 2013, Jen Grisham. And our top seeds today, Classic Lanes Greenfield with Gina Darashevsky captaining that team. Scott Weiland stepping up, and that was just a little quick out of his hand, a little extra speed, amped up, maybe coming out of the commercial break.
Well, yeah, it could have been approach issues as well. He didn't seem to be as balanced or as solid at the release point as the previous shot. Avoids the tricky 2-8-10, just leaving up the 2-8.
Yeah, Scott with 12 300 games and a high series of 848 under his belt. I want to thank his kids, Scotty and Sammy, for all their support with his bowling, and a nice cover there by Scott. Nothing ever easy when it's a railroad on the lanes, no matter what the condition. Well, still a 32-pin lead for Respect Your Elders, and if Gus Gianaris here can get out to 6 in a row for his team, they'll extend it out to 42 pins. Gus, way too many titles to go through. We'd have to add an extra half hour in the show, I think, to go through all of Gus's titles between USBC, state, city, other tournaments.
Well, members of 2 Halls of Fame, the Milwaukee and the Wisconsin Hall of Fame. And we can see why.
2 for 2 so far for Gus. The front 6 and
inching up a little deep in that pocket though. Gus may have to bump it in a little with his feet.
Yeah, he's talking to his teammates back there, letting them know maybe a little change in the lane. And you know, that's the advantage you have as a team bowling on one lane in the Baker format, is you can tell that next teammate of yours, hey, I just had the ball hook a little bit more than expected.
Yeah, and that comes into play if they're playing near the same line you are.
Let's see what Dave Bears can do here, looking to get to be the 2014 Wisconsin Bowler of the Year, and he's back on track with a strike that frame.
Yeah, good shot off Dave's hand there, using a Brunswick Mastermind hybrid cover. Kind of an all-purpose ball.
Dave been a member of Brunswick staff for quite a few years on the PBA Regional Tour. I know he's got a few regional titles under his belt, 6 of them to be exact, and he made his first national TV telecast at the World Series of Bowling last year as the Midwest Regional Champion. Didn't have the showing he wanted on TV out there, but he's had some good showings on our Time Warner Cable Sports Channel shows.
See if Lori can keep her string with light mixers, and not this time around. And I wonder if she made a move or just didn't get it off her hand as cleanly as she'd like.
Yeah, looking at the line she was playing, it looked pretty good. And just watch that ball, yeah, it just kind of didn't roll up real strong on the back end. Maybe it came out of it a little quick. Only she knows right now. And my 300 game today would have been worth $300 cash from Essential Bowling Concepts and a $300 bar tab from Classic Lanes Greenfield. So that's safe for at least another game. But the way the bowlers are throwing strikes out there today, they might get paid out.
Well, Classic Lane's known for high scorers, Phil, and we have 6 quality players. And they're on the middle of the house, 11 and 12, so no weirdness with end pairs, which can be associated with end pairs, I should say.
Yes, indeed. Janine Meifert stepping up here. Want to thank her husband Mike for all his support as well.
I've heard of that guy.
Yeah, he's made a couple of our telecasts as well over the years, especially the team event from Motion Plus Lanes with our action team shootout. And just a little creep high there and a little bit 4-pin high.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of bowling with Mike and his wife and a few years back with Scott Stoltz at the national tournament. We had a great time. Fun group to be around.
Absolutely.
They definitely know how to enjoy themselves when they're out at a national event.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. They enjoy themselves locally too. Scott's girlfriend Kim Kenny was bowling here today in the trios tournament, and she's still in the crowd, watching what's going on, having a couple of adult beverages while she's here. And a nice cover there by Janine. I want to thank all the bowlers that came out to both the Ladies Trios Classic and the 2+1 Trios Classic at Classic Lanes Greenfield. We'll have some big events to announce shortly as well for TV next year from Classic Lanes and Greenfield, and from our other big partners as well with Castle Lanes in Racine, Motion Plus Lanes in Cudahy, and Lakeshore Lanes in Sheboygan.
And Joey wants to give a shout out to girlfriend Sheila, his daughter Andrea, and son Joey, and everyone at Summers Automotive, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it's striking his way to sales at Summers Automotive, I guess you could say there. Get a little alliteration in the broadcast. So if you're looking for a new or used vehicle, you can go see Joe out in Mequon. Be more than happy to take care of you. Scott Weiland stepping up. Needs a strike to really keep his team in the match, and a nice job there with the high hard one.
Yeah, and you could tell right off his hand, he knew that was not going to hit weak like the previous shot. He caught it all. You can see the ball finishing right behind the 5-pin.
Yep, he knew it all the way down. Just a matter of don't leave a bad tap, a stone 8, or a flush 9-pin.
Or a good tap.
Yeah. Is there ever such a thing as a good tap, though?
I don't think so.
Only in a 9-pin tap tournament, maybe. See what Gus can do here to get his team back out to a 30-pin lead in the 9th frame. Pretty nice out of his hand, and rings up a 10-pin.
Yeah, another great shot from Gus, and you know he may have made an adjustment after finishing deep in the pocket his previous frames. Let's see where the ball finishes, pretty much where it's supposed to, but the 10-pin didn't cooperate.
Yeah, 6-pin just right around that 10. He knew it was a great shot out of his hand, and you see Gus's reaction. He knows it's part of the game. You're going to leave a 10 here and there. All you can do is keep your team in the lead and make your spare.
Exactly, and Gus is trying to avoid an open, so if he doesn't make the move, let's say, and leaves a 4-9 or a 4-6, that is much worse than just leaving a ring 10 because he did make a move.
Yeah, and right now it's just a matter of keeping your team in the lead. Maximum score for We're Not With Cassie right now is 238. Respect Your Elders basically just needs to step up in the 10th frame, get a mark out of Laura Mattia, and they're going to move on to the semifinal match regardless of what Dave Barris does here.
Dave bumped in a little deeper. Really nice shot off the hand. We can see where he gets the Bowler of the Year award credentials from.
Exactly, and Janine last year bowled with Tony Oliva.
Tony Oliva.
Tony Oliva, pardon me, Tony
He's
Oliva.
Italian.
That's right, Tony Oliva. And Dave Barris in a 2nd place finish last year. So looking to improve on that this year, but they'd have to climb the ladder and get a little help here from Laura Mattia in the 10th frame.
See, I always pronounced Laura's last name Matilla, obviously incorrectly, and she leaves another back-to-back 2-4-5. And her husband Steve, I know Steve, but I've never really asked him the correct pronunciation.
I'm sure they'll probably correct us once we get this on the air if we are wrong.
But isn't that Spanish when you the 2 L's make a Y sound?
I believe
Mattia.
I believe that's correct.
I don't think Steve is Spanish.
We'll have to check. We'll have to check between games here.
I think he's Italian.
I think any way you look at it, if we pronounce their name on TV, I don't think they're going to be complaining too much. And there's the spare that Respect Your Elders needed to get into the next match. Basically right now, stay behind the foul line, get 5 pins, and they're moving on to the semifinal match against Team Grisham. And our Wisconsin Women's Open defending champ, Jen Grisham, captaining that team. So you got to go through the same routine. You know you only need 5 pins, but you don't want to do any major changes.
Leave another 2-4-5 is what you're saying?
Well,
Not Laura.
Nice out of the hand, squares up to the pocket. A little ring 10, but she'll take it right now. And that gets Respect Your Elders into the semifinal match here today at Classic Lanes in Greenfield for the 2+1 Trios Classic. Janine Myford step up here, try to finish things off for her team. Get into the 230s if she can strike out here. You can see a little disappointment with not getting any farther than they did last year in the tournament, but she's going to finish out strong. Always a little pride when you're out here on TV.
Well, TV is TV. Regardless if you win or lose, I mean, it's still an accomplishment getting into the finals. Great shot from Janine.
Absolute great shot there. We're going to save a little time. We're going to get into our commercial break right now. Join us for the semifinal match for the 2014 2+1 Trios Classic from Classic Lanes in Greenfield in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. Bowl U's only instructional camp in the Midwest for 2014 is coming to Sunset Bowl in Waukesha from August 22nd through 24th. For more information on the camp, go to facebook.com/BowlUWaukesha. Well, first match in the books here from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. Respect Your Elders moving into the semifinal match with a 243 to 224 win against We're Not With Cassie, and now team level steps up a little bit more. Semi-final match. We've got Jen Grisham, our defending Wisconsin Women's Open champion, leading things off for Team Grisham here on lane 11, Joey.
Yeah, starting off using a Storm IQ Gold Pearl. We'll probably see Jen playing a little deeper inside.
I think that's the same ball she used to win her Wisconsin Women's Open title here back last October. Nice out of her hand and scrambles it up well.
Can't throw it much better than that on your opening shot.
A little experience under the TV lights for all these players right now, so I think the TV jitters pretty much gone away quickly here.
So you really can't give an edge to Respect Your Elders because they're on a new lane.
Correct, yeah.
Even though they have a little more experience.
Yeah, they did get a shadow ball after Team Grisham got done with their practice. Since they were moved from lane 11 to lane 12, they got one shadow ball per bowler. So they still have to remember where they were in practice originally and make the adjustments on lane 12. And that one just went a little long on her, I think.
Yeah, that two pin's giving her some issues here, and that can be from either a little too deep or just using a ball that's not quite picking up soon enough.
Yeah, you can see that ball was still skidding right there, probably at about 47, 48 feet, and this pattern is only 41 feet long.
Right, and in shadow, she may have seen a great reaction. All of a sudden, a little bit of oil carry down, and hybrid covers and pearl covers can be, especially polished, can be affected with oil carry down. So Laura may have to make a slight adjustment.
So switches balls there, no problem covering up that single pin. And now, if there's a most traveled for this tournament award, we'd have to give it here to Paul Bober. Paul right now living in Santa Monica, California. Just relocated there recently from Morton Grove, Illinois. We've seen Paul before with Rochelle and Rich Blake when they won our inaugural 2+1 Trios tournament back at Castle Lanes and Racine in 2011. And a great shot there by Paul to start things off.
Pretty good opening shot from Paul. He's joining the Wallenkamp Gresham Menage a Trois.
Exactly. Get all three bowlers out there. As we said, most travel. He's back home for vacation. His dad's here in the crowd today. Robert, want to say hi to him. Make sure he came up and watched the Sun Bowl. And here comes the classic stylings of Joe Natoli out on lane 12.
Well, Joey's a 43-year veteran. Began bowling at age 12. And he's a very youthful 55.
Does a lot of his bowling up at Brown Deer lanes, up in Brown Deer. And Joe, 4 for 4 that makes him right now on strikes. Having a great day.
That's kind of all Joey does. We bowled nationals with Joey for a number of years with Niall Konachuk, and he doesn't do it with the big high swing and power ball, but all he does is strike.
And this is a guy that struck against me a lot in league over the years, and he's going to throw a lot out here today, I think, with Ron Wallenkamp Jr. And a little bit of a weak 10-pin on that shot. So Ron with his unique 7-step delivery. Sometimes people like to tell him he's got 11 or 12 in there, but he's only has 7, we've counted.
Right, and they're not slow and deliberate. They're quick, fast-paced, kind of a la Marshall Holman.
So
Ron one to always play the lanes relatively straight whenever he can, and a nice cover there by him. So yeah, many times in leagues over the years at Classic Lanes in Greenfield here or at AMF Bolero, I don't think I've ever won a match in total against Ron Wallenkamp Jr. He's always a tough competitor on the lanes, and here's another tough competitor with Gus Yanaris. He's handed me a few defeats out there as well. That's why I'm in the booth now, I think. That's why it's
Gus has handed everyone a few defeats.
But he's the first one to buy a beverage off the lanes when you're done, too. Always a good competitor. Always likes to talk about the betterment of the sport, and a great shot there by Gus.
Now, if Gus could throw it like that every shot, I'd sponsor him out on tour, because solid at the line, great follow-through, open hand at release, which most modern-day players aspire to do rather than grab it or hit up on it.
Well, him and his Lynn's Limited teammate, Lenny Borish, out of Racine, they could go out there and room on the PBA 50 tour. Lenny's had some good success out there over the last couple of years, and another teammate of theirs as well with Dale Traber. Won a couple of USBC Senior Masters titles as well. Jen Grisham, great shot there to get her team back on the strike train. Only down right now by a single pin, but Respect Your Elders can get that back out.
Well, they pick up another double, which is critical as well. Now, Laura needs to put on them striking shoes. See if she stays with the same ball. Yes, she does.
11-pin lead here. If she can get a three-bagger for her team going into the commercial break. Nice out of her hand, and once again, just that hair bit long, and it didn't let the ball finish on the back.
Yeah, I thought that was a good release, and she's so deep, and the ball is, you know, you need balls to do two things. Good length through the front, good back end on the last 20 feet, so you get some angle of entry for hitting power. And if it happens too late, you leave a light 7, weak 10s. If it happens too early, you're going to leave weak 10s as well.
She have no problem covering up this 7-pin, getting in the commercial break, which she does. Got a few frames in our semifinal match here from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. Join Joe Serraro and I back in just a moment for the rest of the semifinal match. Four frames in the books for our semifinal match here from Classic Lanes in Greenfield. All even in the 2+1 Trios Classic. Getting back to action here with Paul Bober out of Santa Monica, California, via Morton Grove, Illinois, up in his team's 5th frame.
So your 2+1 format could have 2 women and 1 man, correct?
We did have quite a few teams today. It did have 2 women and 1 man. Suzanne Rondi and Kim Kenny bowled on a team with 2 women, so just missing out on the semifinals. And a nice shot there by Paul to slap that 10-pin out.
Yeah, Paul gets it done like Joey does. Just nice and easy. Let the lane and ball do most of the work.
Well, these are guys that, you know, you've never heard of them having any type of hand or wrist injuries or problems over the years with just the everyday attitude they have to the game. They want to make sure they can get through and bowl 6, 8, 10 games if they have to. I mean, before they made TV today, they had 3 regular team games and 9 Baker team games before the TV show. And you know, Joe's throwing the ball as fresh and as strong as he was when he first took it out of the bag this morning. Nice out of the hand. And how about that for a break?
Right up a little strong. Got the nice trip on the 4.
You can see right there, he knows he got a little bit of a break there. It was a little bit farther left than he wanted. Looks like Team Respect Your Elders is playing lane 12 a little bit tighter than they were on lane 11. And now it might be time for them to make a slight move after he's come 4-pin high.
All right, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The long slide into 7 and can't get the bottom of the 10-pin to kick out. That 6 did a little work there, but not enough on it.
A little better than his first shot in drive through the pocket, but not quite enough to get that 10 out. You can see a little ball deflection there, finishing kind of behind the 9-pin a little bit.
A little bit. So, and he knows right there, just a little bit of a 10-pin. Let's see if we can pick this up. Shouldn't have too much of a problem with the Strazy Plains Lanes. Gets it done there, and I want to give a quick shout out to his dad, Ron Wallenkamp Sr. Used to bowl at Ron here in the Monday Night Classic here at Classic Lanes in Greenfield. Always a good guy. Always entertaining stories from Ron Sr., no doubt about that.
Yeah, I bowled a few non-pro tournaments with Ron back in the 1970s, as well as Gus.
Yeah. Gus looking to
Carl Muccio.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Phil Presti, all the good, the Pincala boys.
Quite a few names back in the day for the non-pros that you would think would have been on the Pro Tour back in the 70s and 80s. And Gus comes a little high there and gets the bad break with the pin coming back across and taking the 6 out. Makes it a little tougher.
And Gus will probably take out a spare ball for this. Gus is a very good spare shooter.
Yeah, Gus's team is sponsored by Lynn's Bowling for quite a while. I think he's got a Lynn's bowling ball there, actually.
Oh, yeah, one of our top sellers, the Lynn's polyester. You can see how straight it goes.
And unfortunately, he didn't get enough of the 3-pin there to do anything and get a spare. And that's going to open up a big hole for Respect Your Elders, down by 21 pins with Jen Grisham stepping up in the 7th frame. Only good news is that Team Grisham not working on a strike right now, only working on a spare, so they can't extend the lead.
Well, Jen is 2 for 2 in her strike attempts, and gets set. Nice tempo to the line, great follow through.
Gets it to read up and gets that head pin working nicely.
3 for 3 for Jen.
And it's a unique format to this tournament. I mean, for years, Gloria Bear had her Anchor Girl Trios tournament that was run at the Red Carpet Centers back in the day, and she's brought her tournament back over the last couple of seasons as well. She's had some nice turnouts for that. And, it's kind of a little homage to Gloria and all the work she's done over the years with getting our version of it on TV with having the ladies bowl anchor in the Baker format.
Right, and it's a fun format because not always do women, especially high caliber women, get to play alongside and with some of the top caliber male players.
Yeah. And the women are out there, they know they're the ones that have to handle the pressure situations if it gets to a 10th frame, and Laura's handled the pressure right there after an open, steps up and just gets the high hard one for all 10 down.
Laura knows it's do or die right now, 7th frame. She needs to get a strike started for her team because that team's going to need a turkey 4 or 5 bagger to have a chance, because I don't see Team Grisham here struggling.
No, I mean, they're on 230 pace right now, and the most that Respect Your Elders are going to have if they strike out is 237. Paul Bober steps up here in his team's 8th frame and can't quite get that 10 out. And well, Team Grisham all over the pocket. The only problem they're having right now, 10 pins. 5 strikes, 3 10 pins this time, and bowling against Gina Dereshevsky and basically the home team here at Classic Lanes Greenfield. If they make the final, I don't think a 70 or 60% carry percentage is going to get you through a championship.
No, normally not. At least 70-75% to have a chance.
Nice cover there, though, by Paul Bober. Keeps his team with a 21-pin lead, but Joe Natoli can step up here, get his team a double, and get that lead down to 11. Joe, so far today, been nothing but perfect in the pocket. 5 for 5 on his strikes.
So we'll see if you black clouded Joey here. Smooth. And you did. He threw it good.
That's not just a black cloud. That's like a black cloud, a thunderstorm, and 3 tornadoes at the same time with that solid of an 8-pin. Watch that ball just slice the 5 off. Nothing else even near the 8-pin. And he knows right there, that was pretty much the shot of the match. You see Gus and Laura back there reacting to the bad break that their team just received. And now they're going to need a little help from Team Grisham in order to have any chance of winning this match.
Yeah, and it cost them a potential 21 pins, that tap.
Which is the lead that Team Grisham has right now.
There you go.
So, and Team Grisham only working on a spare right now after the 8th frame. Their maximum score, if they can strike out, would be 238, which would be more than enough to get him into the championship match.
Ronnie said back-to-back soft 10s. Made a little move right, it looked like, but the ball got the 10 out, obviously, but not the 2-4-8.
Yeah, you can tell he's not happy with the reaction of the ball right there. He thought he threw that one well, and it never turned the corner hard enough to get flush into the pocket. And this is no giving him a spare either on this condition.
Well, it's better than a 2-4-5, though. At least there's no 5-pin to chop. He can actually play a little hook into the 3.
And almost got too far over. And almost could have left that 8-pin in the back there. But keeps his team with an 18-pin lead. With Gus Yanera stepping up in the 9th frame. And right now with a 217 maximum, you need to strike out to put any pressure on Jen Grisham. in the 10th frame.
Gus did come high on his last shot, where he left the baby split.
Looks like he's moved a hair deeper on the lane, too, to make the adjustment. 5 steps to the line, releases it smooth, and that read up early, and wow, full price paid on that error.
Yeah, and I don't think Gus was happy with the result there. It looked as though he did make a move in, but possibly a touch soft with speed. And I've seen this at Gina's house here at Greenfield. In fact, a lot of centers. You can execute perfectly other than speed, and you pay with a big split.
Yeah, it's just a little speed sensitive at the end of the pattern, and next thing you know, it's an open frame on the board, and pretty much Jen Grisham just has to step up here and get herself 5 pins on the first ball, and that's going to be more than enough to get Team Grisham in the championship match against Classic Lanes Greenfield. And if if you're Classic Lanes Greenfield right now, you've seen the first 2 games. Lane 12 has walked away the loser. Do you kind of keep that in the back of your mind when you come on for practice?
Well, I mean, you almost have to, and they may want to stay on the pair they're on, but again, they're not striking that much, or the lane they're on, they're not striking that much either.
Yeah, so it should be interesting to see what lane choice Gina Dereshevsky and her teammates make coming on for the championship match. And a great cover there by Jen if she strikes here. 214 for her team score, and that'll get him into that final against Gina Dereshevsky, Steve Mattia, and Kevin Munchow for the team members of Classic Lanes in Greenfield. Jen stepping up here. Let's see if she maybe makes a little area check here, see where she sits.
Well, with a strike here, that'll give Team Grisham 6 strikes out of the possible 11. Good shot.
Great shot there, and Jen basically 4 for 5 for her strikes this game, and she's doing what she should be doing on the bottom here. Well, let's see what Laura Mattia can do here, stepping up. You see hugs and handshakes back there. These bowlers have bowled against each other for quite a while in the Milwaukee area, and they know each other well, and guarantee you they'll be talking this match over at the bar once the TV taping's done.
A little friendly smack talk.
Laura got that one on the lane a little bit farther, a little bit aloft, and 10 back.
Yeah, and kept a nice direct line. I think that might have surprised her a little bit with the reaction.
Well, we're going to save a little time. We're going to let the bowlers finish out this game. We're going to get back with our championship match from Classic Lanes in Greenfield in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned for that final 2+1 Trios Classic. I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too. 2 matches in the books here from Classic Lanes Greenfield today for the 2+1 Trios Classic. Semifinal match, Team Grisham wins over Respect Your Elders, gets them into the championship match against Classic Lanes Greenfield. And Jen Grisham starting us off on lane 11. They got the stay. Classic Greenfield decided they were going to move over to lane 12 for this championship match.
Well, if anybody knows the house, Gina should know the house. And it's not like Team Grisham had a great look on lane 11, but again, they do stay on the same lane.
Yeah, the problem's kicking the corners out. Lots of 10 pins for Team Grisham. That semifinal match, and that's just a pitch out to the right, and nothing doing with the washout here. The 1, 2, 4, and 10.
Yeah, Jen not too pleased with that effort there, and I mean her first bad shot, really, when you consider all the great shots she's made today.
Yes, indeed, and probably about a 50% chance of converting this on TV. She wanted to say a special thanks to her son Bryson, her and Ron's son Bryson on the air, along with her sister Andrea, her mom Gail, and her dad Dan. And well, if you're gonna have bad count, you may as well make it the first frame. 7.
Yeah, I think she kind of had approach issues there, because Jen, I wouldn't think is gonna miss by that much normally. So, okay, Gina, that's who I put on the leadoff, which means she's going to play anchor in the 10th.
Yeah,
I mean, Gina's going to strike an awful lot.
Yeah, I mean, State Women's Hall of Fame, Milwaukee City Women's Hall of Fame, and national team titles, city and state team titles. You see why right there with a great 10 back to start with.
Yeah, she's got the contemporary game with a little extra power to go along with it. Rock solid at the line, and she's not afraid to move around on the lane. She's a great gutter player.
Absolutely. So she's played that line in numerous tournaments, playing where nobody else was, and walking away with lots of tournament titles and a little tournament cash as well. Paul Bober stepping up out of Santa Monica, California, via Morton Grove, Illinois. Needs to set that ball up in the pocket nicely, and he does.
Better shot there. He got a little better drive on the back end there. He tweaked his wrist a little bit through the release there.
Yeah, his last shot last game left a little bit of a weak 10 pin, so he brought that back. No problem with splitting that 8 and 9 with the bowling ball. First look on TV for us with Kevin Munchow in a year or so. Bowled last year with Melissa Miller as his teammate.
A familiar name with an unfamiliar face.
Kevin Munchow steps up and gets his 10 back right away too.
Yeah, a little bit of a power player there. Kind of straps it through at the bottom.
So Kevin and Ron Wallenkamp Jr., old teammates, bowled a lot of stuff together, now opponents in this match.
Ron struggled a little bit last match.
2 10 pins and a 2-4-8 he had.
Exactly,
when he was out there.
And I'm sure Ron is going to make some type of an adjustment, either with the amount of steps he takes, just kidding Ron, or a little bit better release, and I think he chose for the better release.
Yeah, definitely a little firmer getting in the pocket than we saw in his last shot, so gets no problem having that 5 blowout into the 10. Once again, you saw the slide there for bpsmilwaukee.com. Check out the summer specials there. Get your stuff ready for bowling season. Beat the rush in July. If you do it in July, you don't have to fight the crowds. Steve Mattilla up in the third frame for his team, and he just pulled up on that shot bad.
Yeah, not his best effort there, and they can't afford too many errant shots because one of these teams is going to catch a string.
Yeah, no doubt about that, and especially opening match, it took 240 to win. It only took Team Grisham 214 the second game to win, but they did that with a clean game as well, not catching a lot of doubles and 3-baggers.
And I would think at least 230 it's going to take to take the honors today. And Steve, the author of 5 300 games and an 835 set, as he chops the 369.
And that's going to bring Team Gresham right back into the game here with a 2-pin lead if Jen can strike. That'll bring it out to 12 pins. You can see there just a little bit of a bad break. 6-pin had a chance to get the 10. Bounced off the flat gutter and the sideboards and just went around it. Now you get the low look. You watch how open Jen is all the way through the shot till she gets to the release, and that arm swing powers through and gets the 10 out.
Snap that 10. That's a bowler's best friend when the 6-pin does its job out of the gutter.
Eileen's bowling buddy. Once again, great training aid, great off-season workout too. If you can't get to the lanes, I use mine all the time to stay sharp, and go check them out there at eileen'sbowlingbuddy.com.
Gina wants to give a shout out to Mom and Dad, good friends of ours, as well as most bowlers in the bowling community.
Yeah. Jim and Jean Porras, 66-year anniversary they just recently celebrated.
Son Justin and daughter Jenna.
And I think we've seen Jenna trip a few strikes like that, getting that 4-pin out into our commercial break for this game. Join Joe Serrano and I back from Class Lanes in Greenfield for the rest of this championship match for the 2+1 Trios Classic in just a moment. Well, just as we expected, a slugfest here at Classic Lanes Greenfield for the championship match of the 2+1 Trios Classic. And hey, Robert Bober, Paul Bober's dad, checking things out, watching the match. Give him a little FaceTime on camera there since he came all the way up from Illinois to watch his son. Paul's been throwing the ball good all day. 6 for 7 on his strike attempt so far, only a 10-pin in his attempt before. And unfortunately, I had to say 10-pin at the wrong time.
Yeah, another soft corner, and I mean, he's got a soft speed, kind of a soft roll. Great shot maker, but
yeah, watch that ball.
Yeah, the ball might not be the best matchup on this. Only Paul knows if it was his good release or not.
Paul, Columbia 300 staffer for quite a few years now. 2013's Chicagoland USBC Bowler of the Year. Got that award before he relocated out to Santa Monica, California, and a great cover there by Paul, not giving any pins back to his opponents.
So why would anybody want to leave Northern Illinois for California?
Weather, 75, 80 every day of the year. Never rains in California.
Okay.
Never snows.
That's enough.
I'm sure. I think it had something to do with the job relocation as well.
Kevin Munchow, author of 2,300 games, began bowling at age 8 in his high set of 861. Now that's smoking.
That's an unusual ending for a set, too, with a 61. And a great shot there. You can see why he smoked an 861 before with that shot.
I don't care if that's unusual. That's 861. That's only 39 under perfection.
Yeah, that's got to be maybe 2 shots that didn't strike the entire night. And you can see why when you throw in the 5 pin in the 7 like that.
287 triplicate, correct?
That would be it as well, 287 triplicate. Boy, for a guy who, for our math usually not being good on this show, that was phenomenal, Joy.
Thanks, Bill.
Ron Wallenkamp Jr. stepping up, looking to add another strike for his team.
Yeah. Now, he got a good roll on that ball. Kind of surprised me it didn't hit, but the 6-pin gave him a little love tap on the 10. And
let's take a look at the replay here and watch that 6-pin. 1, 2.5 bounces out of the gutter to get it out.
I think he learned that from his dad, because his dad used to do that all the time.
A little flex on the way back there for Ron.
But his dad used to do it with hard rubber with a 2-ounce core, and, you know, Junior here is using a reactive resin with an 8-pound core.
Yeah, Ron Wallenkamp Sr., quite a few city and state titles himself out there. Steve stepping up, and he's back in the pocket
Much
after
better
his
shot from Steve, and we notice Steve finishes quite a distance from the foul line there.
Yeah, definitely up and through the shot, a little spinny. Kind of reminds me of Bob Greenfield at release sometimes.
A little bit.
The spin at the bottom of the release.
We'll watch Jen, and we always talk about being solid at the line and finishing through the ball, and Jen does both. And you'll see she doesn't cut it short. She gets that follow through well behind her shoulder.
Oh yeah, and it's nice and loose. Watch it start to come back. So she keeps that arm swing nice and loose all the way through, and that's why you get results like tripping 4 pins.
Right, and I think if you and I tried that, Phil, we'd be in traction.
Absolutely no doubt. To be young and flexible is an absolute bonus.
Well, just to be young would be nice.
No doubt about that. Great shot there, kicking that 4-pin down. And now to try to get the lead back, Gina Darashevsky up on lane 12 here at Classic Lanes.
2 for 2 going into this third shot. She knows now's the time to strike. Taking a little extra time. 5-step approach.
Solid at the line, and Ken opens the rack.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to carry as well. Her elbow got out a little bit on that as opposed to being under it, but ball drove through the pins nicely.
Well, with a 9-pin lead for Classic Greenfield, it's basically down to a 3-frame match here. Whatever Team Gresham does here in the last 3 frames, if Classic Greenfield can match them, they'll take home the title. Anything less, and Team Gresham can take home this 2+1 Trios title. That would be Paul's second title, as he won with Chicago Bowler Shop back in 2011 with Rich and Rochelle Blake.
More speed, better roll, better result. Paul got his job done.
Yes, indeed. And now it's just going back and playing cheerleader the rest of the way through, because your job for the day is done as that 8th frame bowler. Gets his team back with a 1-pin lead. 5-pin does a little work on the 4 and the 7 there to get it out, and Kevin Munchow, 2 for 2 this game, needs to keep that streak going.
Use the full approach, as you can see. Let's watch his footwork. Right foot back from the left to start. Good balance position. 5-step. Kicks it through. Pretty nice result.
Splits the 8 and the 9. You can't throw it any better than that in a pressure situation, and on a not so easy lane pattern, especially with a little bit of play that's been on already today. Nicely done by Kevin, and now once again sit back and root your team out, and he hits it out of the park on that one. He knew that was solid out of his hand.
Hey, Ron knows if they have any chance to upset Gina's team, it's going to be with a strike right here, and he throws his best shot of the day.
Pretty much matched Kevin's shot right there for splitting the 8 and the 9, and he knows it was a phenomenal shot.
Steve in the same situation, and Steve knows now is not the time to throw an errant shot.
Now, this is one of those matches, I mean, we don't cheerlead for any teams or anything in particular right now, but I wouldn't mind seeing strikes the rest of the way off the sheet for an exciting finish.
And there's a chance for a tie.
There's a chance for a tie depending on what, obviously, Steve does here to go along with our ladies in the 10th frame. It needs to be, oh, I thought that was a little left the target right there, and it held pocket for 10 back for Steve.
I think Laura taught him that.
Must have. And yeah, it's got to be a little odd right now. I mean, Laura just got bumped out of her last match. She could have been bowling against her husband this match. And now she's back there rooting him on, taking home the little extra first place money. I bet you they split what they win, right? Husband and wife?
Well, if they split it like I split, wife gets 80%, hubby gets 20 if we're lucky. So do the math. What does Jen need to do here?
Well, basically, anything she does, Gina needs to pretty much match to keep her team in the lead. And right there, that is a strike. That is 5 in a row for Team Gresham.
So Gina has to strike her first ball in the 10th?
Well, it depends on count right now because that's only a 1-pin lead right now for Jen Gresham's team. So if she doesn't strike on this shot, a 9 count could force a tie situation, would definitely force Gina to get the first one to 10.
I realize I'm asking the wrong person here to do the math at a critical stage, but this is an important shot just as the first.
And that creeps up high, and I think that was just a little left to target.
So that changes the complexion where Gina does not need to strike on the first frame.
No, but she will definitely need good count on that first ball, spare it up, and get good count on the second ball to win. Let's see what Jen gets here for count. You can see she knew it out of her hand. She was not happy with the release. So getting 2 here is important because that'll get him to 242. Which she does, and that would force Gina right now to go 9 spare and 9 for the victory. If she were to get
a 1-pin victory.
If she were to go 8 spare strike, it would be a tie. 7 or less on this ball. And no matter what Gina would do to spare, it would be a loss for Team Classic Lanes Greenfield.
Well, Gina's thrown all good shots so far prior to this, but it is the 10th frame, little added pressure. The shot may have changed slightly.
And that just looked a little slow out of her hand, and she's lucky to just leave a 3-pin on that shot.
Yeah, that could have been a split.
And the count right there is huge because with that 9 count, if she spares this up, she only needs 9 on the second ball for a 243 game for her team.
And Gina may not have thrown that slow, but she may have sent it a little bit to the friction area of the lane earlier, and balls slow down when they encounter friction. So it obviously gives us the illusion she threw it slow.
Yeah, you can see she was definitely not happy with the result of that shot.
Using a brand new Columbia Orange Piranha to convert the spare. Notice she doesn't even think on that. She just throws it down the middle of the lane, let it back up, and she gets the spare. But this is a big shot.
Yeah. 9 or more is a win. 8 is a tie, which would be an 8th, 9th, and 10th frame roll-off. 7 or less, and Team Gresham would take home the victory. There's nothing guaranteed after that first shot in the 10th. Much better out of her hand, and 10 back for the win.
That's Gina. She's happy.
Yes, indeed. Classic Lanes Greenfield takes home the victory, 244 to 242 over Team Gresham. Joe Serrano will be back from Classic Lanes Greenfield in just a moment to wrap up this tournament, so make sure you stay tuned. Barbiere's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee. Eileen's Bowling Buddy, used by high school and college coaches and members of the PBA Tour to train, warm up, and rehab. Get all the information at eileensbowlingbuddy.com. Well, Joey, we predicted in the opening there could be a lot of strikes on TV, a lot of high-scoring games. There was. The last match, boy, you count 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th frames, all those bowlers striking. Gets to the 10th frame. Jen Gresham has to step up for her team. She got the first one in the 10th. Needed a good count or a strike on that second ball in the 10th to put a little more pressure on Gina Darashevsky, and she just crept a little bit high and let Gina kind of get away with an errant shot first ball of the 10th frame.
Yeah, I mean, Jen threw 2 great shots, and her second shot may have been the better of the 2, but she caught it a little bit more, and that's a quick response cover, so when it hits friction, it makes that change in direction, and she paid with a split.
Yeah, and that last match, 244-242. Great match. Classic Lanes Greenfield takes home the 2+1 Trios title for this year. We're going to have more great bowling for you coming up on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. We're getting back to the youth bowlers. We're going to be back in Motion Plus Lanes for the Motion Plus Lanes Open. Lots of good high school and college bowlers, and we've seen plenty of talent from the kids out there before. Lots of scores at Motion Plus Lanes. Maybe a 300 this time. We haven't had one out of the kids in a long time.
Could happen as long as you don't put your black cloud over.
We'll try to keep the black call away for the rest of the summer. So next time for Motion Plus Lanes, join Joe Serrar and I back on the commentary. Parents, take the kids bowling even during the summer because they'll have fun for life. And join us again for Motion Plus Lanes on our next show.